So today we will see this on netting and the other small concepts like the adjustments, chargeback, and this thing. So tomorrow we will see the intercompany.
Today is what?
Okay, okay.
Today we will see we will see APR netting. We'll see the customer refund, write-off, adjustment, and chargeback. So these are small things. So
Hmm.
tomorrow we will see the intercompany and the other things,
Okay.
matching the receipt with bank statement, those things. So for this, the first setup would be to yeah. So for this, the first setup would be to have the bank account for netting. So I have enabled it. So I'll just show what are the options that we need to have. Yeah. So I have enabled this option called netting account. So this is one thing I have enabled it, and I have attached the payment method basically with the payment document. I think here the form is hanging. So nothing. I just attach the payment method and the document sequence. So these are the two options that I enabled for netting purpose. So one is netting account, I have enabled it, and the other one is I have enabled the payment. I mean, I have attached the payment method and the document sequence for the payment.
What is the netting account number? The one at the top, 34534. That one.
Yeah, this is the bank account. So
Uh-huh.
I have enabled this option so that I can use this particular account for netting. So basically, netting
Okay.
is nothing.
What option you enabled? Where is the option?
No, this one. I'm highlighting here. So netting account.
Okay.
So this is the one I have enabled.
Okay.
See, bank account is common. So I can create the bank account if I disable this particular option, which means this is only a common bank account. If I enable this option, which means I'm using this account for the netting purpose.
Okay.
Yeah,
Continue.
yeah. I mean, you got it right.
Yeah. So if it is not being ticked, then this account number is just a general account. It's
Yes,
not used for netting. If
yes,
you click it, it will be used for netting.
yes, correct. So similarly, here we have another setup. Actually, if we will have to edit it. So I'll just click new. So here I have added the bank account. I mean the payment method, and I have attached the payment document category. So these are the two things that I have enabled. So since this form is hanging, not able to open this form. So these are the two setups that we have it for the bank account. I mean netting purpose in the bank account.
Can you,
Yeah.
how you went to that screen? Like you are not highlighting while explaining. That's why I'm
Just,
losing the track.
yeah. Yeah. Yes. So I'm using the same form. If you see, we can create the bank account in two places. One is at the payment level, and the other is at the receivable module. So here
Okay.
in the receivable module, if you see, this is our receivable module, define receivable configuration. So here, if I come down, I have cash management and banking configuration. So
Okay.
so under this, I have set up bank accounts and branches and accounts.
Okay.
So here already we have created the bank and bank branches while we are configuring the payment module.
Okay. So this
So
the one that you are doing is for receivable. So this will be the account where we will get the money from the customer.
yes,
This is
correct.
that account.
Yes, correct.
Okay.
So this is the navigation I'm using. Manage bank accounts.
Okay.
So here we have created a bank account when we are configuring the payables. So I'm using the same account for the netting. So this is the account that we created, KK underscore account. So instead of creating a new account specifically for the netting purpose, what I'm doing
Hmm.
is that I'm just clicking the account that we have already.
Okay.
So here for the netting purpose, we have two setups. So one is,
No, wait. It didn't move to the next screen, so don't explain from next screen. It
okay,
didn't move.
yeah. So we are able to see the screen, right?
Yeah.
So this is the bank account that we created while we are doing the payment and the other things. So I
Okay.
have taken the same bank account, and if you see the first option to enable this bank for the netting purpose is to enable this as a netting account. So netting
Understood.
account,
What is?
yeah,
Yeah, continue, continue.
yeah, netting account is nothing but a bank account which is used for the purpose of netting between the vendor and the supply, I mean customer. So net,
Understood.
yeah, netting. I mean, you know the netting concept, I think. So
Yeah,
net,
yeah, I know API netting. You were telling two settings to do. So this was one setting. What is the other check?
yeah. The other one is if you see here in the fourth tab, we have business unit access. So here
Okay.
we will attach the business unit and we will add the payment method and payment document category.
Okay.
So these are the two setups that we will do for the netting.
Okay.
Yeah, fine.
So which means assigning the business unit.
Yeah.
This ensures that you can do setting only under this business unit, right?
Yes,
You can't
correct.
do setting
Yes, correct.
netting under this business unit.
Yeah, we will have access.
And
Yeah.
and obviously we can't do across business unit. Can
No,
we do that?
no, we cannot do across business unit.
Because the ledger has to be same.
Ledger has to be same. Again, if you see inside ledger, we have legal entity. If you do the transaction between the legal entity, it will become intercompany
I
transaction.
so I will tell you what happens. The netting can be done only within one business unit, and netting is only for a transaction between AP and AR. It cannot be done with outside the business unit or anywhere else. Only within one
Understood.
OU.
So
Yeah,
basically this would say within RE1 only we are doing between AP
yes,
and AR module, for
exactly.
example.
So, for example,
Understood.
if you are saying in case of a supplier, if the supplier is selling you some item and they have charged you some $500 and you are liable to pay to the supplier, but again at the same time you are providing some service to that supplier. Let's say quite,
Yeah,
yeah. So
API netting understood. Yeah, Sajesh. This was
yeah,
there like 2-3 years back. We were trying to do this in our system also.
okay. So yeah, that's it. So the only thing is like only one business unit we can assign at the bank level.
Mm,
The second one is
mm,
payment method and payment document category is something like you will have a separate netting payment method, right,
okay.
Arun?
Yes, correct. Sudhir.
So yeah, netting
Okay.
payment method you have. You cannot have a check payment, electronic wire. Nothing is possible. Netting means you are just netting it off.
Understood.
And
Oh,
why we
okay.
are doing
Okay.
it? Why we are doing it at the bank level? Because we have to have a bank feed also, cash management feed. See, basically, we
Mm,
are not
mm,
paying anything. We are not receiving any cash. We just
mm.
netting it, but still, we need a banking entry. That's the reason we are configuring in the bank. Otherwise, the balance
Okay.
will always lie in a supplier account, or the balance will always lie in a receivable account. So to knock it off,
Mm,
you have to have a banking entry also, which will be the
mm.
payment entry. If you see supplier, the supplier liability will get debited in the payment entry. Cash will get credited in the payment entry. So for that only
Understood. Understood.
we are configuring
Understood.
it
Yeah,
like that.
yeah. So only to ensure that the balances get knocked off from
Yes,
the
yes, yes,
right
yes.
account. Got it.
Okay. So these are the main two entries I could understand. One is a netting. You have to enable that bank as a netting. If you don't enable that bank as a netting, then you cannot use it for netting.
Mm.
So that's what he has mentioned. Let's say if you are taking
Yeah,
a
yeah.
normal bank, then that bank will if you don't enable netting, which means that is eligible for cash or wire transaction, not for netting transaction.
Not for netting. Okay, okay. Got it. Yeah, Arun, continue. You can.
Yeah. So yeah, so we have enabled this netting option. So the next setup is to attach this bank or the bank account with the receipt class or the receipt method. So the navigation is again under receivables. We'll have customer payments. Under customer payments, we have receipt class and method.
Like the way we are introducing a separate payment method, we also should introduce a receipt method. Is that the understanding?
Yes, correct.
Okay.
So the netting thing already we have it. So this is the seeded one. So we can use the same thing. So that is Vora underscore AP and AP slash AR netting. So I will add the business unit and the bank account. Yeah. So I have attached the bank account. So I will add the relevant accounts to this receipt class as well.
So basically, Arun,
Yeah, yes, Rajesh.
after the bank creation, you will go and create the receipt class and receipt method, right?
Yes, correct.
And what will be the name of the receipt class and receipt method?
This one, Aura underscore AP slash AR netting.
Okay, fine. Okay, fine. And at the same time, you have to go and create in the payment also, right?
No,
Where
payment.
where did you see that underscore? Just now you said, right, Aura underscore.
Yeah,
What
yes,
did you say?
yeah, on minute also. Yeah, if you see here, so this is the method. So
Okay,
it
okay.
is Aura underscore AP slash AR netting.
No, so
Hmm.
for this is AR side we have created.
Yeah.
What we will create for AP side?
So AP side, we will not attach similar to what we have it in Receipt Plus because we are taking the payment method and directly we are attaching into the bank account. So it is interlinked.
What payment method you will create? You have already created or you are going to create?
No, we have created. That's what I have attached the normal KK one which we use
Oh, okay.
for the payment. So I have attached it.
Okay.
So why we are attaching it here is that basically system will understand that this is the netting when a user is trying to do a netting transaction, this is the payment method and the other things I should use, and this is the receipt class that I should use. So that is the understanding. And here why we are using this seeded one is that we will not be able to create it. If I close this and if I open, so if you see here, we will not have the netting option. We will have only the automatic, bills receivable, and manual. But whereas if we see here, we will have creation method as an API netting. So what we will do is that we will take this and we will attach our business unit so that we will have access to the netting transaction. So here inside this, we will attach our bank account as well. So what we enable for the netting transaction. Yeah, fine. Okay. So I'm enabling this for the unrelated transaction. So which means I received, I booked an invoice with one customer, and I can apply the payment or allow payment to make the transaction to the different customer as well. So I'm enabling this since I'm using the payment and receivable to do the netting thing. Yeah, fine.
You're waiting for us, Arun?
Yeah, I was thinking you asked something. Okay.
Just highlight if you are saying something, just highlight so that.
Yeah, sure. So totally we did three setups. So the first thing is that we took the bank account that we created, and we enabled this for the netting thing. And the second setup what we did is that we took the receipt class where the seeded receipt we took aura underscore AP/AR netting. We attached our business unit and the bank account there. And now we came to the system option, and we enabled allow payments to the unrelated transaction. So these are the three setups we did. So the next thing is that we will create the netting agreement.
One moment, one
Yeah,
moment.
yeah,
Here only you did that allow payments something.
yeah, yes, correct. In system option, if you remember, while we are configuring the AR module for the first time, so we started with receivable system options. So
Hmm.
here we saw something in the cash processing tab. We had something called allow payments of unrelated transaction, which means
Okay, got it.
irrespective of customer, we can process it. So that's it. So I'm just saving and closing this. So these are all the setups that we need for netting process. So we will try to attach the roles for the user. So the role that we will require for this is that netting manager AP/AR. So this is the standard role that we have. So we will attach this particular role, netting manager. So I have assigned this role to the user called Arun, so which I have logged in. So I will save and close, and I will allow this role to be assigned to the user. So I will navigate again to the project. So I take the user and I'll attach the role that we attached just now, and I will map it with the business unit. Yeah, so I have attached it. So now we should be able to see the netting process under either the receivable or the payables. If it is in receivables, we will see in this tab, accounts receivable. If we are looking under the payables, so we will, one minute,
Just one question, Arun.
yeah,
You mapped in the last screen what you did. You mapped what to what?
business
I'm
unit.
sorry, I missed it.
So what we did is that we assign the role to the user and we are taking that role
Hmm.
and we are linking with the business unit so that I can create
Okay, got it.
the netting.
Okay, okay, got it.
Yeah.
Continue.
Yeah. So since we have assigned the role called netting manager, we are able to see the two things. So one is manage netting agreement and the other one is manage netting settlement. So first thing is that we will create a netting agreement. So I'll just create a new one. So I'll take the legal entity that we have, KK legal entity. So I'll give the agreement name and the netting bank account. The system has taken it automatically based on the mapping that we did in the earlier setup. And here we have the netting order rule. So how do we want to do the ordering for the netting process? So whether we wanted to take it in ascending, descending, or whether we wanted to take the based on the due date, or we wanted to take based on the transaction. So in this case, irrespective of the due date, if I want to select the transaction, I'll take the transaction date from the oldest to most recent. But if I wanted to take based on the due date, whatever the payment that is in the maturity, so I will pick
Hmm.
only those transactions. For those cases, I'll select due date. So for now, irrespective of the due date, I'm selecting it. So I'm choosing transaction date from the oldest to the most recent. And we have netting rule. So netting rule is nothing but how do we want, when do we want to process this netting? So whether we wanted to have when the payable is greater than the receivable or when all we wanted to have it always. So I'll select always so that even though the payable is not greater, I can use this netting option. So if we wanted to give the netting group so that we can create it. So this is nothing but a lookup. So this is an optional setup. So I'm just leaving this as it is. And we have the start date. So from when to when do we want to have this netting agreement? So I will select this from 1st of January to 31st of December. So I'll have this agreement for a year. So whether we wanted to allow the discount in terms of for the settlement process. So I don't want to give discount here. So I'm just deselecting this option. And we have netting currency rule. So how do we want to handle our currency? So netting might not be always in the same currency. So maybe we can use net with each currency or we can use the single currency. So in this case, I'm selecting single currency. So I'm selecting our ledger currency that is USD dollar. And we have the other options that whether we wanted to select based on the pay group. So let's say we have a scenario where we have different pay groups and the other segregation for the inverse. So this is on the AP part. So here if we have, we can say only include. So which means this netting process or this agreement will consider only the pay group that we are listing out here. So apart from the other pay group, system will not consider for the netting process. Or maybe we have very limited number of pay groups, so we can exclude a very few and we can include others for the netting process. So I'm selecting all. So we have the payment invoice types. Like what are the invoice types that we wanted to consider here? So if you see here, so I can select even the credit memo and debit memo. So for now, I'm selecting only the standard invoices. Similarly, we have for the receivables as well. So this will list down all the uh, transaction type that is available under our data access. So I will select this as an the transaction that we created. Yeah. So this is the invoice type that we created, KK invoice. So we have attached the payment and the receivables. So now we are attaching the vendor and the customer. I think the instance is refreshed. So the supplier name is not there. So can we create the supplier name and come back? I mean, we need few configuration. So can we do that? Or we can see the other transaction and we can see this tomorrow.
Okay.
Okay, okay.
So we will see this tomorrow, or we will create the configuration and we will close this one.
Up to you. Like,
Yeah, either way it is fine. So for me, I can create the configuration and we can complete the netting today.
okay.
Yeah, okay.
Hello.
Yeah, yes, sir.
Okay, I'm just checking. Maybe the screen is moving.
Hello.
No, no, I'm saying only the screen is moving. I didn't hear anything. That's why I said.
Yeah. I mean, that is almost done. So we are creating the supplier. So after this, we will create the customer and we can create the netting agreement. Yeah. So we saw till receivable transaction type. So I have attached the supplier and customer as well here. Yeah. So the supplier that we created is KK supplier, and I have attached the site one, and I'm also attaching the customer side. Yeah, fine. Yeah, Sajid. Hello.
Yeah, yeah, Arun.
Yeah. So can we move on? Like what I have did is that I
Yes.
have created an agreement. So we saw till receivable or transaction type where we attached our transaction type. So now in this setup, in the trading partner, so I have attached the supplier and customer. Yeah, fine.
Yeah, Arun. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So we created the agreement. So maybe we will try to create a few transactions in the AP and AR. So I'll create two invoices in AR and two invoices in AP. Yeah, just give me a minute. Let me open the PDF. Okay, I'll create a transaction in receivables, and I will also create it in payables. Yeah. So what I did is that I created one receivable transaction on invoice, and in payable I created similarly one transaction. So now I'll try to create a settlement for this. So I'll take the legal entity, so that is KK underscore LE, and I'll say specific agreement. So I'll choose our agreement that what we created, KK agreement. So I'll leave the remaining as it is. So settlement date cannot be backdated, so it will be always on date. And settlement name, if we want to have a specific name, we can have it, or we can leave as it is. And settle without review, which means it will settle automatically. So I'll just say no, because we will review it and then we can settle this. So transaction date. So from which date to which date we wanted to take consideration, and account date. Similarly, based on those, system will pick the transactions. So I have given the information. So I'll just save and close. Yeah, fine.
Yeah.
Okay. So I will just query the settlement that we created. Yeah. So we can see the status. The settlement is selected. So we can download this settlement, and we can load it. Yeah, so this is the receivable transaction. So we can see in the receivable tab all the receivable transaction that system has picked. So the transaction number is 1, and we can see this the transaction amount is 60,000. So that we created just a few minutes back. And similarly, we can verify the payable part also, which should be 20,000. I think there is some issue with loading this one, the plugin issue. So I'll just upload the statement because maybe we are not removing any invoices. So I'll go to the schedule process and I'll try to check in the report.
Are you sharing screen, other screen? Because we are only seeing the Excel.
Sorry, just a minute. Yeah, this is visible now, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so what I did was like I'm just trying to run a report called netting settlement report. So I'm just trying to see the status. Yeah, so these are the two transactions that is selected. So we could see this is selected and maybe I'll navigate to the transaction page and I'll try to check the status there. So I'll submit this settlement. Yeah, so it has been settled. So I'll just show the details of it. So this is the payable part. If you see payable transaction, so that is for the supplier KK supplier, and we can see the invoice number 890 that we just created it, and we can see that net amount. So that is netted on. And similarly, we can see for the receivable. So I'll show it from here. So here, whereas if you see, it is transaction amount is 60,000, but the netted amount is 20,000, which means in receivable we have still 40,000.
Okay.
Yeah. So now we can go back to this one and we can check the status there. So we should be able to see settled status. Yeah. So this is settled. So we can download as an Excel sheet and we can verify. And apart from that, if you want to reverse this particular settlement, so there are two options. So before settling the particular transaction, so whether it is in selected or selected with no transaction, so
We
at
can
that
delete it.
stage we can delete it. When
Yes.
it is processed, we can reverse it. Yeah. So that's it on the netting part.
Okay, then next class we will see about the intercompany.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. We'll see that.
So, Abhishek, when we can have next class?
Can we have it on Saturday? Up to you. Like, can we have it on Friday? I was thinking of Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday. That was the plan.
Uh, okay, I will see because tomorrow I have some plans. If not tomorrow, then we can have it on Saturday.
Okay.
Okay. I will inform one hour before. So Arun,
Yeah, yeah,
I
sure,
will
sure.
I will inform in that chat. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, sure, sure. We'll change the schedule according to your this one.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, thank
Bye.
you. Thank you. Thank you so much.